The photographer said, "Chin up," then said, "Closer." Have you ever looked at a photograph of yourself and barely recognized the person staring back at you? Not because the image was distorted or poorly taken, but because somehow the lens captured something about you that you rarely see yourself. That moment when you realize a single photograph has the power to shift your entire self-perception can be both unsettling and profoundly illuminating. This is a story about such a photograph, about the simple yet transformative commands from a photographer, and how two short phrases, "chin up" and "closer," can represent a journey from insecurity to confidence, from isolation to connection. The title itself carries a dual meaning worth exploring. On the surface, these are literal instructions given during a photo session. But dig deeper, and "chin up" becomes an encouragement to face the world with confidence, to not hide from the camera or from life. Meanwhile, "closer" isn't just about physical proximity. It's an invitation to vulnerability, to allowing someone else to truly see you. These seemingly simple directions encapsulate the delicate dance between projecting strength while simultaneously allowing ourselves to be genuinely seen. I want to take you through the experience of a photography session that becomes much more than just capturing an image. It's about the transformation that happens when we allow ourselves to be directed, to be seen, and ultimately, to connect with both the artist behind the camera and our authentic selves. It's a journey that touches on confidence, vulnerability, and the power of human connection through the medium of photography. Picture this: a photography studio bathed in soft, diffused light. The space feels both professional and intimate, with minimalist decor that doesn't distract from the subject. Large windows allow natural light to pour in, complemented by strategically placed reflectors and softboxes. There's a certain tranquility to the environment, though it's undercut by the subtle tension that often accompanies being photographed, that awareness of being seen, being studied, being captured. The photographer moves with practiced ease around the space, adjusting equipment with confident precision. Their manner is professional yet warm, striking that delicate balance between directing and allowing natural moments to unfold. They speak clearly but softly, creating an atmosphere of focused calm that helps put their subject at ease, or at least as at ease as one can be when standing before a camera lens that seems to peer straight into your soul. The subject of our story, let's call her Maya, stands somewhat awkwardly in the center of the studio. She's in her mid-30s, successful in her career, but perpetually uncomfortable in front of cameras. Like many of us, she's grown accustomed to analyzing her flaws in mirrors and photographs, focusing on perceived imperfections rather than seeing herself as a whole person. She booked this session on a friend's recommendation, part professional necessity and part personal challenge. As she stands there, she can feel her shoulders tensing, her smile becoming fixed and unnatural, her body betraying her discomfort with each passing second. "I've always hated having my photo taken," Maya admits to the photographer, trying to break the ice and perhaps lower expectations. "I never know what to do with my hands, or my face, or, well, any part of me really." She laughs nervously, shifting her weight from one foot to the other. The photographer nods understandingly. They've heard this countless times before. "That's actually perfect," the photographer responds. "The best portraits come from people who don't consider themselves photogenic." There's an authenticity there, once we move past the initial discomfort. This doesn't entirely reassure Maya, but it does make her feel less alone in her anxiety. Perhaps there's something universal about this discomfort, something human about the vulnerability of being seen. After some preliminary shots to test the lighting, the photographer looks up from the camera and offers the first significant direction: "Chin up." The instruction comes gently but firmly, a simple adjustment that seems purely technical at first. Maya tilts her chin upward slightly, feeling immediately self-conscious about her neck, her jawline, wondering if this position accentuates flaws she works hard to conceal. But let me explain why this matters beyond the physical adjustment. When we're asked to lift our chin, we're being asked to present ourselves to the world with confidence. Think about body language for a moment. When we're insecure or defensive, we tend to tuck our chins, hunch our shoulders, make ourselves smaller. It's a protective posture, one that shields us from potential judgment. By contrast, lifting the chin exposes the neck, one of the more vulnerable parts of the human body, and signals openness, confidence, even defiance. Maya doesn't consciously process all this, but she feels the change immediately. With her chin slightly elevated, her posture naturally improves. Her shoulders roll back almost imperceptibly, her spine straightens, and suddenly she occupies more space, more presence. The photographer notices the transformation immediately and offers quiet encouragement. Yes, exactly like that. Feel how that changes your entire presence. Internally, Maya is navigating a complex landscape of thoughts. There's the immediate self-consciousness. Does this make my neck look wrinkled? Can they see that small scar under my chin? But beneath that runs a deeper current of realization, that she habitually carries herself in a diminished posture, chin tucked, shoulders slightly forward, as if perpetually apologizing for taking up space. This simple adjustment feels unnatural precisely because it contradicts years of learned behavior. The photographer continues shooting, occasionally offering small adjustments, but returning to that core instruction: chin up, just a touch more. With each repetition, the posture becomes slightly more natural, slightly less forced. Maya begins to feel the difference not just in how she looks, but in how she feels: more present, more grounded, more worthy of being captured. This physical adjustment creates a visual transformation that the photographer can see through the lens. The jawline becomes more defined, the eyes more prominent, the entire face more open and engaging. But more importantly, there's a subtle shift in expression, a growing confidence that no amount of technical direction could manufacture. It's coming from within Maya herself, as she begins to embrace this new way of presenting herself to the world. After several minutes of shooting with this adjusted posture, just as Maya is beginning to feel comfortable with this new way of holding herself, the photographer pauses and makes an unexpected request. Now, I'd like you to step closer to the camera. This second command, closer, shifts the dynamic entirely. While chin up was about projecting confidence, closer is about intimacy and vulnerability. It's one thing to stand tall and project strength from a safe distance. It's quite another to bring that presence up close, where every detail, every emotion becomes more visible, more exposed. The implication of physical closeness in photography is significant. In portrait photography, different distances create entirely different emotional effects. Wide shots establish context, but maintain emotional distance. Medium shots begin to create connection. But close-ups, they reveal the person beneath the persona. They show texture, detail, the small expressions that we often try to hide. The photographer's intention behind this command isn't just about composition. It's about creating an image that feels intimate, authentic, and emotionally resonant. Maya hesitates momentarily before taking 2 small steps forward. Now she's standing much closer to the camera, close enough that she can no longer hide behind carefully constructed expressions or practiced poses. She feels exposed, as if the camera can now see past her surface to something more essential, more true. I feel like you can see every pore from here, she jokes nervously, fighting the urge to step back to safer territory. I can, the photographer acknowledges with a gentle smile. And that's exactly what makes a portrait powerful. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. About being fully here, fully yourself. Maya's emotional journey in this moment is complex. There's the immediate discomfort of proximity, the awareness of being seen in detail. But there's also something liberating about it. About acknowledging that yes, she has pores, lines around her eyes when she smiles, a small scar on her chin from a childhood accident. These aren't flaws to be concealed, but rather the physical markers of a life fully lived. As she stands closer to the camera, Maya finds herself navigating the delicate balance between discomfort and self-acceptance. She's simultaneously aware of her insecurities, the features she normally tries to downplay or hide, and yet also aware that hiding them has become exhausting. There's a certain relief in simply standing there, chin up, close to the lens, allowing herself to be seen without the usual filters and defenses. The photographer continues shooting, but now with a slower rhythm, allowing moments to breathe, to develop naturally. That's beautiful, they say occasionally, not referring to Maya's features in the conventional sense, but to the authenticity that's beginning to emerge. The vulnerability in her eyes, the slight tension around her mouth that speaks of courage rather than fear, the way she's fully present in this moment of being seen. This is where the real growth happens, in that space of discomfort that we typically avoid. By staying present in this moment of vulnerability rather than retreating to safer ground, Maya is challenging years of self-criticism and learned concealment. She's rewriting her relationship with her own image, her own presence in the world. Eventually, the photographer lowers the camera and says simply, "I think we got it." There's a moment of shared understanding between them, an acknowledgement that what just happened was more than just a photo session. It was a conversation without words, a collaboration that required trust on both sides. When the final photographs are ready several days later, Maya finds herself staring at images that both are and aren't her. Technically, of course, they're accurate representations, same features, same expressions. But there's something in these images that she rarely sees in her reflection or in casual snapshots. There's a presence, a confidence combined with openness that feels simultaneously foreign and deeply familiar. The final image that becomes her portrait captures precisely that duality, the strength in her posture and the vulnerability in her eyes. Her chin is indeed up, projecting confidence, but she's also undeniably close to the camera, allowing herself to be truly seen. The beauty in the photograph isn't about conventional attractiveness, but about authentic human presence. It challenges her self-image not by presenting an idealized version of herself, but by reflecting back the person she is when she stops hiding. The experience leaves a lasting impact on her confidence, not because the photograph makes her look better in any conventional sense, but because it shows her a version of herself that exists when she allows it to, when she carries herself with dignity and allows genuine connection rather than perfect presentation. This story illustrates something profound about photography that extends beyond this single session. Photography has always played a complex role in shaping identity. On one hand, photographs can reinforce insecurities, showing us angles and expressions we don't recognize or appreciate. They can become tools for unhealthy comparison or self-criticism. But at their best, photographs can also reveal us to ourselves, capturing aspects of our essence that we're too close to see clearly. The balance between vulnerability and strength that Maya navigated during her session reflects a broader human struggle. We all want to project competence and confidence to the world. Yet meaningful connection with others and with ourselves requires vulnerability, requires allowing ourselves to be seen beyond the carefully curated versions we typically present. This tension exists not just in photography, but in all our relationships, including the relationship with ourselves. The importance of connection and creative processes can't be overstated. What made this photograph powerful wasn't just technical skill or Maya's appearance. It was the relationship established between photographer and subject, the trust that allowed genuine emotion to emerge. The best creative work, whether photography or any art form, emerges from this space of authentic connection. Looking back on the experience, Maya recognizes it as transformative not because it changed how she looked, but because it changed how she saw herself. Those two simple commands, chin up and closer, became metaphors for her ongoing journey. To carry herself with dignity while allowing genuine connection. To be both strong and vulnerable, both confident and authentic. A photograph, at its core, is light captured on a medium. But a portrait, a true portrait, captures something more elusive, the light within a person, their essential nature shining through the physical form. The photographer's skill lies not just in technical mastery, but in creating the conditions where that inner light becomes visible. For anyone who has ever felt uncomfortable in front of a camera, who has winced at photographs or avoided them altogether, perhaps there's wisdom in embracing these two simple directions. Chin up, carry yourself with the dignity you deserve. And closer, allow yourself to be genuinely seen, without filters or defenses. In that intersection of confidence and vulnerability, something authentic emerges, not just in photographs, but in life. The power of a photograph to convey deeper truths lies not in perfection, but in presence. Not in flawlessness, but in authenticity. The most compelling portraits are rarely the most conventionally flattering. They're the ones that reveal something essential about the human being captured in that fraction of a second. As you move through your own life, perhaps these two directions can serve as reminders. Chin up, face the world with confidence, knowing your inherent worth. And closer, allow genuine connection with others and with yourself. In that space, you might discover, as Maya did, that being truly seen is not something to fear, but something to embrace, a pathway to both strength and authentic connection. Total _char_count, 13,064.